make that a motion. That motion.
All in favor? Aye. Okay, and public comment, looks like we only have Jim Parlier. Only, no, yeah,
Well,
that's all.
We're honored to have.
thank you,
Yes, we
Bill.
are.
It's an honor to be here. Thanks for being open and letting us comment. Lucy's out of town, and so I wasn't put up to this. If you believe that one, I've got a bridge out on 19, I'll say.
True.
I just want to say thank you to the town of Burnsville, and in particular the Public Works Director and his crew, and Young and McQueen for fixing Azalea Lane. And I happen to be by there at least 4 times every day and watched it, and this one's not washing out. You did a really good job, and I understand about waiting on the money, but once we started the work, Shane, was it a month?
It was a little longer than a month, about probably. It was supposed to be what, within 3 months, I think. I think it was done a little quicker than that, but
It seemed like only a month to me after so long without it.
yeah, it went fast.
So you have effectively taken away the bypass that Summit Street had become, and traffic is a little less. So much praise for that. Summit Street still has 2 problems. Probably the worst problem is speeding. We're a very narrow 20-foot street and have 20-mile-an-hour signs posted. We need to do something else. If we can get a "your speed is" kind of sign over there, it would help maybe. Lucy and I put out little converted political signs and write on it, the speed limit's still 20, and that helps some, believe it or not. And then there are the screamers in the neighborhood who say, slow down! One of those lives at 61 Summit, and it's a problem. We've already had a dog killed and the person walking the dog clipped by a rearview mirror. That situation could get really bad. People who drive are insured, but it will still kill somebody. And then the other thing I'd like to address, at one time, the stop sign for Summit at the Azalea Lane intersection had been removed. There's one at Main Street, there's one on Azalea, and there's one on Summit Street at the Azalea intersection that's totally unnecessary and confusing. We took it out once, and somehow it got put back up. I would propose to you that we take away that stop sign. Azalea should be a stop street, and of course Summit and Azalea at Main Street. But the other sign is unnecessary and actually a hazard. Thanks for fixing Azalea Lane. Good work.
Appreciate it. Okay, consideration of the minutes. We have the regular on September the 7th, special on September the 14th, and closed session on September the 14th.
Motion to adopt all 3.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, the next thing we've got is a public hearing, amendment to the zoning ordinance. I need a motion to open the hearing.
I'll make a motion to open the hearing.
Do you want me to give a little brief synopsis before you do that? That'd be
Yes.
all right?
Please.
Okay.
I'm sorry.
This was gonna be on the agenda last time when we had some issues, so this has been carried over a while. This has been before planning. This is basically removing from our zoning ordinance the provision for group development and moving all that over into the subdivision ordinance, where we had gotten some legal advice from others and that would be a more appropriate place. We've also put some additional regulation in there that kind of coincides with our normal subdivision. It's just a different type of subdivision now is what these changes would be. So it's basically two different things. One is removing it from the zoning, the other is adding that section, that language that you all have into the subdivision ordinance.
Sorry, I got a little ahead of myself. Motion to open the hearing.
Thought I made that.
That was before,
Oh,
so
okay.
do it again.
I make a motion, we open the hearing.
There you go.
I'll second.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
And nobody signed up for public comment, so we just go ahead and
Motion to close.
close it?
Second.
Aye.
Okay. All right, amendment. A motion to adopt the zoning ordinance text amendments.
Motion to adopt.
I'll second.
All in
Yeah.
favor? Aye. Okay, the second one is the amendment to the subdivision ordinance.
You need to
Just-
start it.
Need a separate motion. It's the same, that's what I just
Same.
tried.
Oh,
We're
okay.
taking it from one, you've done that
Gotcha.
with that motion. This will
Gotcha.
be a motion to
Didn't know if you
add
had
cluster
anything.
development as a subdivision ordinance.
And there's a few other provisions
Yeah.
too that were changed, I think, in the subdivision.
Okay,
Some
motion,
definitions and things.
Yeah,
like
that's true. It would be all the stuff outlined in red that we have here, we've changed a few things.
Yeah.
Establishing a fee and rate schedule, that we didn't have that language in there before. A few of those kind of, just revision things. The main change is adding in that cluster development and all the process that has to go through.
okay, I need a motion to open the hearing.
I'll make that motion.
Second.
Okay,
Aye.
all in favor?
Aye.
And there's no public comment on that one either, so, motion to close the hearing,
I'll make that motion.
Second.
all in favor?
Aye.
Okay, I need a motion to approve the subdivision ordinance text amendments again.
Motion.
Second.
All in favor? All right. That one was easy, finally. Don't think we have any presentations, right? All righty. Ms. Hockaday.
Well, I thought it would be brief, but
That's what all them emails said.
I know.
Let the minutes-
that was
let the
what-
minutes
gonna make
reflect.
it brief,
That was
Randy, and I did, but, so,
2 months here to go.
I know.
Said she needs you
I
around.
apologize ahead of time. So the first thing I have is a consideration of a resolution for an application to the Department of Environmental Quality to complete a lead service line inventory. New EPA guidelines have come down regarding lead service water lines. They're going into effect by next October. Am I right, Shane?
Yes.
Every community with a public water system will have to conduct a comprehensive inventory of their water lines. DEQ has made available funding for this process that has also come down from the federal government. And the inventories would be conducted, be a study conducted by an engineering firm. The funding will be granted. It's a rolling application, so Corey Osborne and myself, and Shane kind of looked at what other communities were getting of our size, and basically they'll either give it to you in the form of a loan and part grant, or some got all grant, some got all loan. But our application would be for $340,000. And as I said, Corey is preparing the application, and we need a resolution approving, submitting the application. But where we're at with this is one way or another, everybody's gonna have to pay to have this study done, so. This is our best shot at getting some, if not free money, cheap money, which is kind of rare these days. So I would need a motion to approve.
I'll make that.
resolution.
And I'll second it, so, all in favor?
Aye.
All right.
Next, I have the Withers Ravenel contract amendment. The town was awarded an ARPA grant for repairs to the East Main sewer interceptors. And Withers Ravenel was selected as the engineering firm on that project. Due to a tight schedule to get the preliminary engineering reports in the DEQ, we entered into an agreement for just that service to prepare the preliminary report, with the idea that once that was in and approved by DEQ, we would amend the initial agreement and for the whole process of designing and bidding and construction, observation, and management. The first agreement they sent me was about $59,000 over what was budgeted, so we had some discussions and they were able to cut that out. So now we have enough money in the budget for their services. And I just need you guys to authorize me to execute that amendment to that contract so we can get them to work on our design.
I'll make the motion on that one.
Second.
All in favor?
Okay, Bakers Creek Pump Station. That bid was opened on September the 19th. And I think you have the official bid tabulation along with the letter of recommendation from McGill and Associates. That's the engineering firm on this project. The bid, the lowest bid, we had 4 or 5 that showed up to bid. The lowest one was for $531,827. The funding available in the project for the actual construction is $420,000, including the construction contingency. So we're right at $112,000 short, covering the construction on that. So Jamie Leslie from McGill and myself had a conversation yesterday with Julia Bird, who is our field representative from DEQ. She says that there is funding available, that they will be making available for situations like this where there were cost overruns just due to inflation and the labor market and chain supply, demand issues. She said she's going to talk to her supervisors about the situation, that they have funds available, but they haven't developed what process for requesting those funds yet. So we'll be doing that. At this point, though, we need a tentative approval on the lowest bid. Jay said he felt like rebidding is not going to help because all of them were significantly over this one, and he said the other projects in other communities he's working on, the bids were higher than this one. He thought it was a good price. And it's a lump sum project. It's not a number of feet. It's just replacing fixed assets. And he said the prices on those are not going to really change, and there's nothing we can cut out. I mean, we can't just say, well, we won't do this. In other situations, if we're talking about replacing line, we can cut back the amount. So there wasn't a lot of value engineering they could do. He felt like this was a good bid and that we should give a tentative approval to it because it all has to go down to DEQ and they have to put their rubber stamp on it before it can be finalized. So I think I need a motion to tentatively award that to Carolina Specialties Construction Company of Hendersonville.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second.
All in favor?
And I believe, Jason, we did have a resolution on that one, right? Okay. Okay, moving on with our theme of, we got a lot of money, but not enough. CDBGI West Interceptor bid, that project bid on August the 31st after a failed bid previously because we didn't have enough bidders. Only 2 bids were submitted the second go around, but that's enough if you've done it twice. The lowest bidder was Cajun Construction, I believe they're out of Georgia. Their bid was for $2,482,465, which is $800,000 over budget. Withers Ravenel met with the company's owner and Shane, and they did some cutting and some value engineering on sections of that line that were in better condition, manholes that were in better condition, and they were able to cut out about 300,000 of that overage. The CDBGI program has some available funding on a first-come, first-served basis, up to $500,000 to add on to your grant award.
That's a good number.
That's a good number. We still will be a little short in that construction price, what we have for construction includes a contingency. And so they're gonna have to show that we have some contingency in there. Withers Ravenel is suggesting a 5% contingency. But they feel like that they can, basically hold that out until the very end and see where we're at, and we may be able to.
5% on the 2.5 or the half?
No, on the 2.5.
2.5.
Yeah.
Too good to be true.
So, yeah, exactly. So, what I'm just asking for now is your approval to submit the letter to Colleen Simmons at DEQ, requesting the additional funding. She had told us earlier she did have some, but to hurry up, because everybody was in the same boat.
I'll make that motion, you do that in the morning.
Yeah, I've got it typed and dated and ready, so,
A second.
let's hope. Let's cross.
I think me and you agree. Yes.
All right, the next situation is bizarrely opposite FEMA.
Too much money?
Well,
Or enough?
the maintenance shed project, that's the one where we had the failed pipe out in the field, and then we were able, or the soil and water, in Yancey County was able to get $400,000 worth of grant funding to daylight that stream, which is a much better option than what we've got right now. FEMA, so we sent a change of scope, change of work into them back in either the 1st of January or the end of December last year. And they have just now responded this week to say that, thanks a lot. We just wanted to reduce the amount, I think it's 60 linear feet of pipe that needs to be replaced up by the road where that's eroded away, behind the maintenance shed. They said, you know, we appreciate you asking, but here's a bunch more stuff we want you to do. In order to reduce the amount of money we're gonna have to pay you. So, what they want in particular, there's several things, but the thing that's gonna cost us money is an H&H study, a hydraulic study to see if in any way replacing that pipe, the same size, in the same place, not changing anything, is going to cause flooding issues above or below. They're not cheap, and I contacted the guys who were working with Soil and Water on the design of the stream daylighting. I know they'll have to do some type of an H&H study. And they said they were 60 days out on that. I talked with Corey Osborne, who's, you know, our FEMA grant administrator over at COG. He said his fear, and mine too, is that we submit this and then they say, oh, well, we're either not going to approve it, or we're going to, you know, throw a bunch more regulations on top of it. We want more, we want more, we want more. Shane and I did some figuring and looked at what actually just us fixing it and going on would cost, and I think we came up somewhere in the
Yeah,
$24,000 range.
and we might be able to do it a little cheaper than that, but that's a,
Yeah, that would be high, because there's some things that are in that estimate that we wouldn't have to really to worry about. And I don't know, I'm just coming to y'all with this information to see what you want to do. It just seems like a lot more hoops to jump through. We only have until March the 8th to get it done. And if we're going to wait another 60 days and then have to submit it to FEMA and then have them review it and make a decision, our thoughts for, and Rogue Street is a street on our Powellville map, and so it would be eligible for Powellville funds to use for the repairs. We also got a direct allocation in the new state budget to fix our old fire department into a police station and a public works facility. And there is money in there for paving on that road, you know. I feel like we can come up with this money and we can save a lot of time, because FEMA is not being super helpful on any of our projects right now.
Well, my feeling is, it sounds like the best thing to do is to go ahead and do it. You know,
Well, it's been over 2 years now.
I know,
And
and if
they,
you wait
you know.
on them, it may never get done.
Yeah.
No, and it needs to be done, so that's my feeling. What do you guys?
And with all these other studies that they're throwing at us to have to get done.
Yeah.
There's no
That's
way
time and
by
money
March
right there.
to it
Yeah,
could
it
happen.
is.
Because that's gonna put you in dead of winter.
I know.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I agree.
I think they just got overwhelmed with all this paper projects they've got out there.
Well, maybe so, but and we have been regularly asking, and our representative at DPS has been emailing, and like I said, it's been 9 months since we made the request to change the scope. And just expected, well, y'all are saving us money, you know, but they would go, great, yay, we don't have to pay as much, fix it, but that's not what we got back. You know, if you wanna think about it some more,
I don't really, I think it's, my feeling is to go ahead and get it done. I mean,
I think we still have to submit, say,
Yeah.
change the scope of work to them or something, to just say delete this project. I don't know, they've been real evasive about the information they've given us, and we've tried, you know, in every way to reach out to whoever we can and get information. It's just, I think like Randy said, they're like a lot of agencies.
Have you talked to that young man with Representative Edwards' staff?
Not about this in particular, I haven't.
Is that worth fooling with or not?
I don't know.
I mean, the day we talked to him, he seemed like he was willing to help with anything he could help with.
Well, and that's true. You know, I can reach out to him. I just, you know, I was looking back through my emails.
Can you push?
From, and I asked the question, I'm like, why do we have to have an H&H study for just putting back 60 feet of
Yeah.
pipe? Same size, same place, nothing's gonna change.
sounds like
And
a
he
waste of time.
basically said they're obligated by a laundry list of federal laws, regulations, and executive orders to review projects funded by the Public Assistance Program, in particular those that potentially impact a floodplain, which is what we're trying to help by
Yeah.
daylighting the stream.
Trying to fix.
He said daylighting a portion of a culvert, FEMA EHP has to evaluate potential adverse upstream, downstream impacts, even though they're not funding that part of the project.
I'm still of the mind. Shane?
I think you take a chance if you could wait on the H&H study, and you got that cost. There's no telling, just like Heather said, there's no telling what they're gonna come back with. Then you gotta be lucky enough to get it done by March. So I don't know.
Well, and I do know that we would eat the cost of the H&H study. That would not be, FEMA would not cover that.
Well, by the time you do all that, you're gonna spend $24,000 or
You'll
close
spend
to
some
it.
money, yes. I mean, I haven't priced them lately, but I know people that are trying to get no rise,
Right.
you know, certificates have, we've had some people tell us,
The cheapest I've heard of is $5,000 or $6,000, and they usually go up from there depending on the project.
That's my feeling. I'd say, let's do it.
well, then what I can do is have Corey, I can talk to him about drafting something to them,
Right.
just saying we're gonna take this project out. The only thing that would change my mind on that if they said, well, because it's part of a larger group of culvert projects, not Azalea. Azalea, for whatever reason, they let it stand on its own. Meadow is still involved in that, and Meadow is still on hold. I think we're getting closer. I did get a preliminary design from the civil engineer, but I don't, today, at 4:30 or something. So,
And we have the money.
Well, yeah, we was talking about maybe using our art funds, what's left to finish that if we had issues with it, so.
yeah.
Hey, I'm good with it if everybody else is. Do you need a motion?
Probably, just to reach out to them and say we want to change the scope of work again. I would like to have one, in case they say, has your board approved this?
I make that motion.
I'll second.
And y'all in favor?
Aye.
So, next thing is just the happy news that I did, I guess the budget is now official, the state budget, and the town did get a direct allocation for $1.8 million, specifically earmarked for the renovation of the old fire department into a police and public works facility. And I got that notification from Senator Heiss' office, and we're very pleased and grateful for his work on our behalf. And I will say that Russell played a big part in making that happen.
I was gonna say,
He
was
did.
Russell not involved in that?
Deserves a lot of
Yes.
credit for getting that to the forefront. We don't know when we will receive the money. I think it'll come from the Office of State Budget Management. And we don't know what kind of strings are attached in terms of, I don't know if it's coming from ARPA funding or SCIF funding or if it's state funds, but I'm sure they will let us know, and then that will govern how we procure things. So that is that. On the tax report, I think you
Which is
guys
great.
have had the numbers, and of course, the new levy went out, and I think things are coming in. We do have one bill to release, and it was some personal property. We got notified from the county that this property is not inside the city limits. I believe it was a boat and maybe a trailer or something like that, and it's $129, so we need to approve releasing that from our taxes.
I make a motion to release that.
Second.
No, all in favor?
That's all I have.
Clerk's update, Mr. Chad.
Right, thank you. Just a couple of quick notes here. Been working on open enrollment lately, which will begin October 9th through 27th, so you'll probably be getting an email from me if you're involved in our health insurance. Also worked out tobacco counseling for our employees and folks involved there, so we've got that taken care of for everybody. We have an option right here in town. The banquet's tomorrow night at High Country, so if anyone has any questions about directions, anything like that, we can definitely get you that information. Sounds like our next regular meeting will likely be at Town Hall. First time in a long time. I'm hearing that correctly. Sounds like inspection. I don't want to ruin it.
We're
Inspections
keeping our
might be
fingers
next
crossed.
week. So I'll let y'all know when that's absolutely for certain. And also just a note, we have a design review planning board meeting next Tuesday at 4:50. A little bit of an odd time because we're going to do the design review briefly right before the planning starts at 5.
I'd like to brag on Chad just a little bit. Y'all probably can't see this, but this, if you see the red, he puts down what I'm supposed to do. And it's very much appreciated, even though I get ahead of myself sometimes, but that's Chad's work there.
I kept looking for my paper, that's what the.
Oh, you don't have the red marks, so no. Okay, Shane Dale.
All right, thank you. Well, just a little update. As Chad said, the elevator supposedly is going to have an inspection about Wednesday. We're keeping our fingers crossed. Hope that goes through and everything passes, which it should. But I spoke to the elevator guy today, and that's what he has got lined up. So that's one thing. If you drive toward East Yancey, maybe you'll notice that life is a little smoother down there now. We've spent a small fortune down there trying to fix asphalt that's blowed up from water lines, but I'm ready to stay out of the middle of 19 for a while, I hope, knock on wood. And the other thing that I would have is the generator that we've waited on for about a year, a little over a year now, actually is ready to be shipped. We're just working with some contractors right now trying to figure out about the installation of it, trying to get all that lined up and to coincide with it being shipped and all that. But I think some stuff is coming together finally.
And I noticed, down on, East Main, they're finally putting in a few plants on the,
They are. I forgot about
That's
that.
been
The
how many years?
landscaping has finally started. They are starting at the Glen Raven intersection
Mm-hmm.
there. I think they moved to the west intersection and then they'll come back to this one, I believe is the way it works. But they are working and trying to
Looks
get all that
good so
situated.
far.
But it has been some time coming for
it
that.
has, it's been a long time. Okay. Leslie,
Okay, I sent out the budget versus actual and the overtime report and the graphs, last week on Friday. And, does anybody have any questions? I've not spent a lot of time looking at it, so. Next thing I have is a budget amendment for, first of all, for the fire department received a grant of $18,550. So we need to acknowledge the revenue up here and then increase the expenditure line down here in the second column. And then, this flooring had a little bit of issue. There was some issue with the roof through here. So it cost a little more than was planned on it. Then we had to buy a curtain rod for the curtain back there. And so that's increased actually how much we've spent here by $2,000. And I forgot it was an election year when I was doing the budget. I just forgot. So I had to account for that. So these two lines are increasing on the expenditures, the election and the building maintenance. And how I'm accounting for that is decreasing the general fund contribution, reserve contribution by $8,000 to offset this. These first two offset each other and these two offset each other.
okay, do I have a motion?
Motion to approve.
I'll second.
And all in favor? Aye. Okay.
Okay, and, this is just informational, honestly, is we're in the process of updating our SDF program. System development fee is what used to be a CDI fee, to actually get onto the system. Working with McGill and getting those to a more accurate number, because I think it's every 5 years, is that right, Heather?
I think, yeah.
But we'll actually be talking about it and start talking about that we have to advertise and stuff, that you'll be hearing about it for the next few months. Maybe as early as next month for the advertising, but I don't think he's that far yet.
There's a public comment period with these under state law, so whenever a new one is presented, I think it's a 45-day, something like that, it has to go up and they.
45 days.
They take public comment on it and then it comes back to the board to approve it and set the percentage.
Yeah, because he wanted to actually maybe pass it in February, I think, but I'm not sure.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, thank you.
You're welcome.
Fire department, Niles Howe.
Thank you. You do have our call summary for the month, and we are just staying in line with what we've been doing, average about 39, with 350 calls for the year. As far as the other things that's been going on, we have finished our annual hose testing, and next week will be National Fire Prevention Week, and so we're getting to do some community education. I have had 48 third graders. I went to Burnsville and taught a class with 48 third graders this week, and I've had to go to Church Street, had 43 preschoolers, and so I've got two groups set up for next week where we'll go and also do fire prevention training with them and get to see all the little kiddies and let them see the truck and all that stuff. So It's kind of a fun time, but it's a good time to get some information out to parents along with that. They get to take some things home that remind parents to check their smoke detectors and get escape plans together, so hopefully it makes a difference every year. So that's about what we're up to.
And then if somebody needs smoke detectors, you got Karen's Resources.
Karen,
That'd be really good.
of course, with Red Cross, they do have a resource to put up. Now, I've had some kids this week say, we don't have a smoke detector, so I encourage them to get in touch with me or somebody and tell their parents to get in touch and see if we can get some put in for wherever they're at. And it could be young kids like that may not know whether they have one or not, but
Yeah.
at least we give them the opportunity to ask.
Well, I think that whole program, both the fire side and the EMS side, we've seen all the way through physicians, assistants who went through that program. So nurses, paramedics, so it's just a great thing when you see them grow up.
All right, thank you, Niles.
Mm-hmm.
Police Department, Brian Buchanan.
Thank you, ma'am. You have our activity logs, our activity report for the month of September. The only item that I have as far as agenda item is we do need to do our normal road closure ordinance procedure for the trick or treat, which will be coming up at the end of the month. We won't meet again before that. You should have a copy of that ahead. I just need a motion to approve that ordinance to close the street down so that we can have that event on the square.
And
Motion
that
to-
gets bigger every year.
Yes, motion to approve.
Yeah, it's great.
Yeah, it keeps them from getting killed.
That's right.
Is it on Halloween?
It's on Halloween, yes.
I'll second.
All in favor? It's me and you, yeah.
Thank you.
Okay.
Police department-wise, that's what I had. Zoning code enforcement, again, as Chad mentioned, we have a planning board meeting Tuesday night, just with a couple items, a design review beforehand, and then a normal planning board meeting with just one or two items on the agenda. That's kind of what we have going on right now.
All right, thank
Thank
you.
you.
Can we back up to the police just a minute?
Sure.
As we've heard earlier, several people were calling about side street. In your report, it says we've spent 22% of the time on side streets. Can we see if we can work on side streets a little bit and slow some traffic down?
I can pass that on to them, sure.
I would appreciate that.
Absolutely.
The four-way stop sign over there below the school, or the education, Department of Education, somebody's gonna get it right there.
Okay.
Okay, Corbin, Town Center.
Thank you. It's been a little while since we've all been here. Told you I was a little nervous. It's been about 3 months since we had a meeting here. That's due to, of course, the craft fair and Lyric Festival. But those months went pretty smoothly for us. Quite a few rentals in August. It was a little bit more barren in September than it typically is, but still quite a few rentals. This month, I do have 28 rentals total. Some of those are on multiple days, like two events on the first 2 Sundays of this month. A lot going on. For public events, I have Dig In Empty Bowls is tomorrow evening, and Rail Fest is on October 21st. And my mother actually is putting on, we don't have a name for it yet, but it's like kind of like a closet clean out along with furniture and antiques that will all be, it's going to be like a vendor show in the town center on the 26th and 27th of October. So we're staying very busy. If I kill over, commercial, no why. I've had a lot going on, but everything's going smoothly, and you see we've had some updates recently, and we'll continue to have a few.
Yeah, they look good. Looks good.
Trying.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Council members, anybody have a report?
It'll kind of get down there when we get to the Chamber of Commerce, but I read with great sadness that Christie was losing us. As long as I've been involved with Yancey County and the town of Burnsville, I've never seen anybody work as hard at that job as she did.
True.
Yeah,
She did.
and that's a massive loss. And now we don't have Jamie and we don't have her. And I don't know what those organizations gonna do or what we can do to help that, but it's gonna be a sad time. And I guess, just if, on behalf of town, if we can write a little thank you to her. Chad or somebody.
And I'd also like to say that Russell, I talked to him this week, I think Heather talked to him today.
Just before the meeting I did.
He's
Over
doing very
stuff
good.
on the agenda.
Yeah.
He is doing well, and we hope to hear by tomorrow that he'll be home first of next week
Yeah,
and ready to get back at it. So,
yep. And I think he's ready to.
oh, yes.
So, no economic development, nothing there, so we don't have a closed session. All
Well,
right,
the High Country did, they were people there from the state that did just sort of a quiz, and the people from the High Country didn't do anything. I think most of them didn't stay, they didn't want them to stay or whatever, and it was just questions like what, how they helped you, and all this, you know, what good. And it was a good, they were impressed.
okay. Next town council meeting is November the 2nd. Election is November the 6th, 7th,
Yeah, Tuesday.
yeah.
Randy's birthday.
Oh, is it? Mayor Bennett,
Yeah.
he was a good one. Do I have a motion to adjourn?
I'll make that motion.
Second.
And we're in favor, aren't we? You're not ready to go?
Yeah.